Welcome to our daily news program here on Canal Algérie. Coming up next. Challenges and achievements is the title summing up the 4 years of the process of building the new Algeria, a leader in the national and international levels, economically strong and socially cohesive. On behalf of the President of the Republic, Algeria's Premier conveys the condolences of the head of state and the Algerian people to his brother Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Subah, the Emir of the State of Kuwait, and to the brotherly Kuwaiti people following the death of Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Subah. Unifying Africa's voice and enhance its positive influence in the various UN bodies, and at the conclusion of the 10th High-Level Symposium on Peace and Security in Africa, as Algeria renews its commitment to coordination, cooperation and solidarity with Africans during its term in the Security Council. And on the 40th anniversary of bilateral Algerian-Chinese cooperation in the field of defense industry, an emphasis was put on the depth of historical relations between the two countries. Good evening and welcome again. 4 years ago, the process of building the new Algeria started under the leadership of the President of the Republic, who constructed a development program which answers the people's needs and aspirations, and who themselves are now witnessing tangible development in all fields. Rania Al-Bahri tells us more.
These scenes are the first in which President Tebboune entered the Al-Muradia Palace with confidence and steadfastness, carrying 54 commitments to embody. His victory at that time constituted a turning point that came at a decisive and historic times for Algeria. The first crisis was the coronavirus pandemic, which hindered the growth of other countries' economies, but Algeria at that time knew how to overcome the scourge in a reverse equation that surprised everyone. Algeria's economic indicators and exchange reserves rose, and the international financial institutions at that time praised President Tebboune's management of the economy.
نهاية 2019 في ديسمبر كنا على شفا حفرة بكل الميادين. احتياط الصرف كان يوصل بصعوبة إلى 40 مليار دولار، مقابل استيراد كان وصل إلى أكثر من 60 مليار دولار. يعني كان من المفروض مثل ما كانوا يتكهنوا به كثير من الناس أننا نمر مباشرة المديونية.
He absolutely refused to propose borrowing as a solution in order to preserve the sovereignty of the national decision and secure the national product and national competencies.
والبقية كانت عندنا إنتاجات دخلنا عليها تحديدات. إنتاج 100% محليا في خجلة.
نعم عندنا الفيديو دربنا ثاني على الحماية المدنية ونقدروا نبعثوه إلى مناطق كما اللي تونال ولا باش من
For the first time and under his leadership and since the independence of Algeria, our country moved away from the oil economy and gradually increased other exports, which achieved unprecedented numbers. Algerians have begun to notice his policies and hear his vision with great interest. Every time the president appears, students follow him on university residence screens. He uprooted corruption, and in return, he adopted a policy of spread hand and open doors for people of sincere intentions and patriots.
كان واحد غير يجي يشوش عليك خبرنا
ان شاء الله.
هذا
نطلبوا غير الدعم من عندكم.
ان شاء الله
كما راكم تدعموا فينا.
وزاد سولا بروتيكسيون دو ليتا يا كان
باش نزيدوا نكبروا.
مشاكلكم هي مشاكلنا ان شاء الله.
President Tebboune didn't miss any of the appointments or meetings to deliver his messages clearly and simply, focusing on all concerns, evaluating the performance of the government staff according to the achieved results, without neglecting the role and performance of local authorities.
ما هيش خسارة نصرف على المواطن لأن مثل ما قلت هو الأساس نتاع هذه الجمهورية هذه.
He turned Algeria into a global advisory destination for all Arab and African affairs, and he set out in the four corners of the world, establishing relations of respect and cooperation with the West, while maintaining a distance of neutrality with everyone.
إنه يستعرض بذلك فخامة الرئيس الجزائري كونه زعيما وكونه يحترم مصالحه الوطنية ومصالحنا جميعا.
His position on the Palestinian issue in its Arab and Islamic dimensions was characterized by his rejection of normalization and the pursuit of unifying the Palestinian ranks. He also advocated holding the Zionist entity accountable in the International Criminal Court.
من هنا من القدس نزرع شجرة الزيتون بأسهم الرئيس الجزائري.
Under the leadership of President Tebboune, Algeria has become a new symbol of strong and sovereign country.
In other news, and representing the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi, accompanied by the Minister of Interior, went this morning to Kuwait in quest of conveying the condolences of the head of the Algerian state to Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah, Emir of Kuwait, following the death of Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah. In this condolences message, the President of the Republic put forward the late's rich career that significantly contributed in the development of his country alongside a Subah family, as they were able to promote our brothers in Kuwait to high levels of sustainable development and a dignified life marked by wisdom and foresight, by which he surrounded the children of the state of Kuwait to assume an honorable and sincere role in the causes of the Arab Muslim nations. The proceedings of the 10th high-level seminar on the peace and security in Africa wound up today in Oran province. The seminar was crowned with a series of important recommendations that unify Africa's voice and reinforce its positive impact in the various international forums and bodies. For details with Sabrina Vergenit.
The proceedings of the high-level seminar on peace and security in Africa wound up today. The participants hailed the importance of Oran process in playing an effective and vital role in the decision-making in order to strengthen the ranks of African countries and find solutions for the continent.
It is with the commitment that makes our region going to be a better place, our continent a better place, our countries a better place.
Over the past 2 days, we had the opportunity to reflect on terrorism, violent extremism, and what we can do collectively, working with our member states, Algeria and others, to ensure that we respond to these challenges so that we can improve on the lives of all Africans and bring stability to our continent.
The access and discussions tackled in these past 2 days in Oran province were mainly focused on the most prominent challenges that would require crystallizing common solutions in order to solve Africa's biggest issues.
Algeria reaffirmed its commitment made by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, of Algeria being one of the sincere voices to serve Africa within the Security Council, and that Algeria will be keen on representing Africa in the best possible way and to defend relentlessly the common interests and aspirations of the African countries. Algeria will always adhere to the principles and values enshrined in the African Union's founding charter.
The process of Oran, and after 10 years of existence, is promoting Algeria's status of achieving ways and means of cooperation within the different bodies of the African Union and the Council of Security and Peace in order to unify its voice on the international scene.
On the sidelines of the seminar, the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister Ahmed Attaf received today his Angolan counterpart Antonio Tete. The two parties tackled the relations between the two countries as well as Algeria's role in terms of peace and security at the continental level through the holding of this high-level seminar. The Angolan foreign minister had this to say.
I have just met my brother, the Minister Attaf. We discussed first about the main matter which gathered us here, the Iran process, to which we attach great significance given its contribution to our analysis regarding security and peace of the African continent. Second, we addressed the bilateral matter and the excellent historical relations between Algeria and Angola. We revised the achievements we realized and the prospects we aspire so that we enrich our ties. It is to continue making a success of this relation of the two governments and peoples that are traditionally fraternal. We must continue to reinforce it through economic cooperation. The political cooperation is already strong and will keep it as strong and continue to develop it.
The head of the Algerian diplomacy also received the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs of Uganda, Hon John Mulimba, an opportunity to discuss the bilateral relations, the consolidation of political consultations, and the boost of economic exchange between the two countries. On this occasion, the Ugandan Minister of State for Foreign Affairs made the following statement.
I am so happy that I've had a very candid, cordial discussion with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. We have been discussing on how to deepen our bilateral relations, especially to do with political consultation, but also to increase on economic integration, economic bilateral relations between the Republic of Uganda and the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. The meeting has been so warm, and we have talked about practical issues, whereupon we have shared, including concretizing the invitation that we gave to His Excellency, the President of the People's Republic of Algeria, to come to Uganda to attend the non-aligned movement. Remember, Algeria is one of the few countries in Africa which hosted non-aligned movements. So we wish to borrow and to pick institutional memory from the President of the Democratic Republic of Algeria when he visits Uganda to attend non-aligned movement in the year 2024, but also to be followed by the G77 meeting. We are very grateful to the Republic of Algeria for the warm reception and hospitality that we have been accorded to.
The Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf equally received the UN Assistant Secretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix. The two sides tackled the issues related to the Middle East and the African continent. On the occasion, Lacroix affirmed that cooperation between Algeria and the UN was extremely dense on all fronts and will be even more so with the forthcoming presence of Algeria in the 2024-2025 Security Council. Jean-Pierre Lacroix had this to say on the occasion.
La coopération entre l'Algérie et les Nations Unies est extrêmement dense.
The cooperation between Algeria and the United Nations is very dense on all aspects. It will be more dense if Algeria will be present at the Security Council in 2024 and 2025. We discussed different topics, such as the situation in Middle East. I mentioned our different operations in this region and the challenges and the threats existing. We also discussed different topics about the African continent, such as the perspectives of the security and political situation in the region of Sahel and the MINURSO and the efforts to continue this mission. I would like to thank Algeria for organizing this meeting in Oran, which is very important.
Moving on to the military cooperation, and as part of the 40th anniversary of the Algerian-Chinese cooperation in defense industry, the Major General Head of the Organization and Logistic Department of the General Staff of the People's National Army supervised the official kickoff of this commemoration. The details with Rani Al-Bahri.
At the beginning, the Major General, Head of the Organization and Logistics Department of the General Staff of the National People's Army, delivered a speech in which he stressed the importance of developing and diversifying the fields of defense industry through this bilateral cooperation, before announcing the official opening of this event, adding that thoughtful plans must be drawn up in the short, medium and long term, and a real and effective industrial environment must be established among all concerned parties in order to achieve the desired goals and create a diversified military-industrial activity in line with the requirements of the times. He also announced the official opening to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Algerian-Chinese cooperation in the field of manufacturing industry in the name of the Army General, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army. For his part, and in his welcoming speech to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Algerian-Chinese cooperation in the field of defense industry, Brigadier General, Director of Military Industrialization at the Ministry of National Defense, highlighted the advantages of Algerian-Chinese cooperation in the field of defense industry, which reflects the depth of historical relations between the two countries, especially in the field of military industries, which has been distinguished over the past 40 years by laying the foundation stone for many important industrial platforms equipped with the latest technologies and in various fields, including the construction and mechanical industries. The head of the Chinese delegation, Major General Fan Jianjun, Director of Material and Technological Cooperation in the Equipment Development Department of the Central Military Commission, welcomed this initiative, which reflects the excellence of relations between Algeria and China, and at the same time welcomed the level of cooperation reached by the two armies in the field of defense industry, which calls for more openness to diversify aspects of this matter of cooperation and raise it to higher levels. The celebration was also distinguished by a rich and diverse program that included many presentations made by directors of industrial companies affiliated with the Ministry of National Defense and representatives of the Chinese delegation. Participants also watched 2 documentary films on the history of bilateral cooperation between the two countries and the field of defense industry before the inauguration of an exhibition dedicated to this anniversary, including several spaces dedicated to leading companies in the field of military industry and various models of weapons, military ammunition, mechanical spare parts, and different products produced by these companies on display.
Merci beaucoup. 这是活动专门做的。这次我们40周年的活动专门。
4,651 investment projects were recorded by the end of November, as announced by the General Director of the Algerian Investment Promotion Agency. This number includes 90 projects involving foreigners via direct investment or partnerships. This was revealed during his statement made on the sidelines of the opening of the 3rd edition of the Algerian Conference on Investment. Deia power plant in Sidi Bel Abbas has achieved its construction objectives to meet the local national needs in electricity. Najah Tayyar has a full story.
Covering an area of more than 35,000 hectares, the Deia solar power plant in Sidi Bel Abbas province has more than 40,000 photovoltaic panels that capture the sun's rays all year round and convert them into electricity.
Each station is equipped with 47,808 solar panels to produce electricity with an annual production capacity of 20 gigawatts.
The power plant contains pioneer technological materials managed by a team of national experts specializing in the production of electricity from qualified solar energy, ensuring that this resource is used efficiently and sustainably.
Monitoring takes place at the command center, where data is received and processed instantly. If an anomaly is detected, maintenance technicians mobilize to the station to fix it.
This equipment facilitates the maintenance of the photovoltaic panels. This power plant is part of the national program to produce 25% of electricity from photovoltaic energy by 2030. Since 2016, when it was commissioned, the plant has contributed remarkably in strengthening the local and the national electricity grid and reducing carbon dioxide emissions by around 121,000 tons per year.
To Egypt now, where the National Authority for Elections announced today that ABDFI al-Sisi won the presidential elections with a percentage of 89.6% votes. The presidential elections that took place in the 12th of this month and in which the participation rate exceeded 60% of the total number of 67 million voters. This will enable President Sisi to lead the country for a third presidential term of 6 years. Despite the increase of the international condemnation and after the heavy human and material damage in Gaza, the Zionist entity continues the daily massacre of civilians in the besieged Palestinian territory. Story by Yasin Hamdi.
73rd day of the attacks on the Gaza Strip. More than 20 civilians were killed during an airstrike of the Zionist army that targeted several houses nearby the Ahli Arabi Al-Ma'madani Hospital and the Great Mosque Al-Umari in the old town of Gaza. 9 Palestinians fell as martyrs during artillery and drones bombings in the Zaytun neighborhood in the southeast of Gaza. The occupation forces also killed 6 Palestinians during an airstrike that targeted a house in Shuja'iyya in the east of the Palestinian enclave. In the neighborhoods of Nasr and Sheikh Radwan, the Zionist tanks and armored vehicles continue their attacks with drones and missiles, killing and injuring tens of Palestinians. Some citizens could bury several martyrs in the courtyards of their own houses. More than 20 of them were from the same family. The genocidal operations carried out by the occupation army since months in the Palestinian enclave and the relentlessness of the Zionist entity to destroy Gaza caused the displacement of the majority of the population. Less than 1/3 of the hospitals are operational. The emergency service of Al-Shifa Hospital has become a bloodbath. The World Health Organization is dismayed by the destruction of Kamal Adwan Hospital, northern Gaza, after an attack of the Zionist army. More than 8 patients were murdered. More than 18,800 Palestinians were killed since the beginning of the Zionist attack on Gaza. Most of them were children and women. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas announced their refusal to negotiate about the release of hostages until the attacks on the Palestinian people stop completely.
And today, Algeria celebrates the International Day for the Arabic language under the motto, "The Arabic language is the language of poetry and art." On this occasion, the Higher Council for Arabic organized a celebration during which winners were awarded prizes for the best literary works. And with that, we come to the end for today's program. Thank you for tuning in and goodbye.